heal the fractured country we live in and die in. Here at Double PFR, all souls are welcome, all people are welcome. Welcome to discuss the racism we live in. Come on in. We'll put our arms around you, providing a safe place for you. A place where you're surrounded by hope, where you're surrounded by compassion, where you're surrounded by empathy, forgiveness, and love. You're surrounded by love. I'd love for you to come in with me, to stand by me, to see what we can do to change this country, to change the people that live in this country. I welcome you to Double PFR with love, with so much love. Double PFR. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, another open, the beginning of another show. I love it. I am so happy to be here, and I'm so happy to see Stefan and really Charlie and Sonia. She's one of my favorite people, but she doesn't know it yet. But I've just told you, you are, and you don't know it yet. But now maybe you do, which is cool. All right. Well, again, I am so happy that everyone is here. Now, to get started, the first thing I want to do is say that the title of this episode is America's Hidden Truths. But I really was going to call it in the beginning Thanksgiving ? That's what I was going to do in the beginning, but I changed the title to this. And I'm going to tell you why in just a moment. But before I do that, I want to thank Fireside for creating this platform for us to be on. There's a lot of good things happening on Fireside, and there's going to be a lot more happening on Fireside. So I'm really happy that this platform is here for us. We can truly help change the world through this platform. So I do want to thank Fireside for that. And I also want to thank everyone that's here live. I also want to thank everyone that listens to this show in replay. I want to do that before the end of this show, just to let you know where my mindset is when I come into this show. Because you don't have to be here. And most people don't want to be here. You know, these are tough topics we're talking about here. And it's the reason I only have this show every other week. Because when we're talking about this type of stuff in America, it weighs on me very heavily. And I'm sure it weighs on anyone that really cares about people. So as you know, if you're a person of color in this country, we're living a different life in this country. If you come from somewhere else, if you come from another country, you're still living a different life in this country. So again, I thank Fireside. I thank the audience for being here, and really just being here as an audience member. And especially if you speak or perform in this show, that is everyday activism. You are doing something to make a difference. And just by being here, you are making a difference. So thank you. And I just wanted to let you know how much I appreciate it. All right. Now, getting back to the holiday that we just had. Like most people, I spent it with my family, with my children and my grandchildren and my ex-wife and my wife. And it was a great time. Yeah, it's a great time. And I'm always happy to do it. But in the last couple of years, probably within the last 3 or 4 years, I no longer say Happy Thanksgiving. And I will never say Happy Thanksgiving to anyone anymore for the rest of my life. What you'll hear me say, and thank you, what you'll hear me say is Happy Turkey Day. You'll hear me say Happy Family Day. These are the things I will say. And that's about it. That's as far as it goes. But I do say Happy Turkey Day and Happy Family Day. And I love spending time with my family on November 24th, right? Yeah, that's it. So the reason I came to this conclusion that I'm no longer going to say Happy Thanksgiving is because a few years back, I started to learn that Thanksgiving was actually to celebrate the massacre of Native Americans, the indigenous people of this country. And I said, and I did a little research at the time, and I did find out that there is a connection to Thanksgiving holiday and the massacre of Native Americans, the indigenous people of this country. But I continued, being that I knew I was going to speak about this tonight. I did some more research. So there are historians and professors that have been saying, no, 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 no. Thanksgiving was not to mark the massacre of Native Americans. It wasn't. They say it wasn't. We can prove it. So I did get some stats on that if I can find them. So they were partly correct when they said Thanksgiving has nothing to do with the massacre of Native Americans. So I checked it out. And I did find out that in November of 1637, there was no massacre of indigenous people in this country. That they actually did have, the story they tell us about, that, we broke bread, that the Native Americans broke bread with the settlers, and that's how Thanksgiving came about. Now, they did have that meal. They did break bread on that date. But now I'm going to tell you the rest of the story. So, and I'm just going to choose this date because it's one of the largest we know about. But in June of 1621, which is 16 years before this dinner came place, there was a massacre. And all the experts say there was. Oh, yeah, there was a massacre of the Pequot people. So the Native American tribe of the Pequot people. And the settlers on that date, it was in June of 1621, the settlers came to, and they called it a fort. So the Pequot people had built a fort, around their village. They turned it into a fort because they were under attack by the settlers, the Pilgrims. They were under attack by them. Okay. And you know why they were under attack? Because they just wanted to kill everybody and take their land. So they were under attack. They were fighting against the settlers. So one day, the settlers find 5 white men dead in a boat. And immediately they say, oh, it was the Pequot that did it. Now, they didn't know this. They didn't have any proof of it. And the whole story may have been made up. I don't know. I wasn't there. Okay. So they decided to march down to the Pequot's village, their tribe, and kill everybody. It's anywhere from 500 to 700 men, women, and child. And they set them on fire, or children. And they set their town on fire. They set them on fire. They killed all of them. So this was a true massacre. Okay? True massacre. In every sense of the word, it was a massacre. They didn't stand a chance. And this wasn't the only one. There were hundreds of massacres like that in this country to develop this country. And every one of these massacres were called the Day of Thanksgiving. Now, this phrase of the Day of Thanksgiving, it was actually a church phrase that came from, across the pond. The English brought it. And that term is supposed to mean a gift from God. Okay. So the Thanksgiving feast that took place in November of 1637 was actually a gift, like a gift from God. It was actually a day of Thanksgiving because the Native Americans, the indigenous people of this country, taught the Pilgrims how to farm, how to feed themselves, how to take care of themselves, how to survive. Now, who does that? Who does that? Someone invades your country and you have open arms and you try to help these new people from across the water. These are kind people. These are loving people. And I'm sure at the time they knew they were being annihilated, but their hearts were good. Help fellow man, love human beings, take care of the land, love the land, all of these things, all of these things. So they did good stuff. But the settlers perverted that term, Thanksgiving. So all of the other days, and like I said, there were many days of Thanksgiving, took place all during that time, before and after. So when professors and historians try to say, oh, that's not what Thanksgiving means, because they chose out that one time that they could prove that Thanksgiving was a day of thanksgiving, to being thankful for what you have. One day out of hundreds of days of annihilations, of exterminations. One day. And this is what that country talks about. One day of goodness. And it wasn't goodness by them. It was goodness by the Native Americans, the indigenous people of this country. So many of us know that's what happens here. That's what happens here. So actually, Thanksgiving Day actually didn't become a national holiday until President Lincoln in 1863. And he made it a national holiday is because the Union was victorious over the Confederacy. And now let's think of this. Even the President of the United States use Thanksgiving Day to try to unite the country over a war, over death and destruction. So that phrase, that word Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving Day in this country has been associated almost 100% with murder and death and land. And they still want to tell the Native American people that it's a good thing. No, it didn't happen that way. We were all good friends. Yeah, my ass. Okay, so this this is what I'm getting at. I've told you all this information tonight, and you've heard it. You can choose to believe it or not. You can choose to do your own research to find out whether I'm correct or not. But if you find out that I am correct, what are you going to do? What are you going to change? Are you going to keep saying Happy Thanksgiving? Are you going to be as happy as everyone else when you see the Thanksgiving Day parade? What are you going to do? I talk about being an everyday activist, something that small, of not saying Happy Thanksgiving makes you an everyday activist. You are doing something. You are doing something to help create some change. Now, I don't force my ideas on everyone else. I don't run around saying, "Oh, I'm not celebrating that day cuz they killed Native Americans." No, but what I do say is Happy Turkey Day. Happy Family Day. And then when someone asks me, "Why do you say that? How come you never say Happy Thanksgiving?" That's when I tell them. That's when maybe they can learn something. That's when maybe I help create some change. And I know this has been in a tradition. If you are born in this country, if your grandparents were born here and your great grandparents were born here, you've been celebrating that holiday forever, for your whole life. You remember the whole time. That's some of your best times. But this is all part of systemic racism. You see, because they have created a situation to where we would think about other people, about other cultures, the same way they do. You might say, I've been doing this my whole life. We've been celebrating Thanksgiving my whole life. I'm not going to change. You can say that. And you're also part of the problem. If you're a person of color, if you come from another country and you live here and you have a statement like that, you're part of the problem. So please make a difference. Please do something else. Please learn what we do in this country and how much we're a part of it. Because most of the time, we don't know how responsible we are in systemic racism in this country, which is unfortunate. And that's not even what this show is about. So that's all I'm going to say about Thanksgiving. That's it. I do wish if anyone has any comments, wants to come to the stage and say anything, I welcome you to come to the stage. I would love to hear what you have to say on this topic. And if not, that's okay. Because I have a poem here that I can read. for this occasion. And that will do it. So we're going once.
Sweetheart,
Yes.
before you get to your poem, I think you should acknowledge the people in your audience.
Who do we have? Who do we have? I thought I saw everyone.
I mean, you didn't say hi to any of them.
Yes, I did in the very beginning. You didn't hear it when they were in the audience
Really?
before we started. See? So we got really Charlie, we got Laurie, we got Jill and Tony. Ooh, look at them. Jill, it's you. We got Stefan and Zari, I believe it is. You're new. I haven't seen you before. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so glad you're here. And look, I hate to put you on the spot, Zari, but would you come to the stage just for a moment? You don't have to turn on video. I just want to get to learn who you are. And, that's about it. That's all real simple. And I'm going to send you an invitation. And again, if you don't want
I
to
just
come
sent
up,
one.
no problem. It's okay. What did you say, Jill?
I just sent one, but she's not
Oh,
new.
I sent one too. We both sent one. So, yes, I understand. You told me she's new, right?
I said she's not. I've seen her in Maya Shola's show.
Oh, well, she's new to my show. And I've probably seen her before. Okay, well, that's okay. We got really Charlie, though, that's request to speak, so we'll bring him up. Hello, really Charlie.
What's going on? Great conversation. Great
Nothing
singing.
much. You know what? You know what, Charlie? If I'm hyped up, you will always calm me down. I'm like, hey, Charlie, what's happening? And you're like, what's going on? I like that.
That's what friends are for.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Charlie, do you have a comment or question?
I agree with you 100%. I have been caught up with saying Happy Thanksgiving. But one thing I'm going to add is during the time that I am with my family on this family day is I'm going to add stories like this, like what you just talked about, where we say a prayer and then say a quick story. It doesn't take long. It
Oh,
doesn't take long at all. But what it does, it educates our family, everyone's family, to look things up, and actually, just like you said, you can believe me or not, you can research it if you're
hmm
correct or incorrect. But that's one of the things that should be added to this family day, this turkey day. It's just a quick conversation, maybe just after the prayer, and well, actually before the prayer, and then the prayer, then we eat, just so people could get a better understanding. Because not necessarily, even though we have our families, and you may assume they know all this, but they don't. So,
Oh, correct, correct. Like I told you, up till maybe 3 years ago, I didn't know it. I didn't know it either. You know,
mhm.
but the moment I found out, oh, I'm like, oh no, I can't be part of this. Not that way. I have to find a different way to look at it. And by the way, I didn't say it, but that is a fabulous idea. I mean, that's really a great idea. So I think that's what we're going to do next year.
Well,
It'll be
thanks to
excellent.
you. I'm going to practice what I preach, and I'll do it next year also.
All right. All right. We'll be sure to let each other know how it went.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you also. And for everyone to know, on December 10th, really, Charlie is going to be a guest on my show. And there's a lot of things you don't know about really Charlie that he hasn't shown that much of on Fireside. But hopefully, we can get to some of that when he's a guest on my show on the 10th. So please check it out. It'll be all right. Okay. So now I am going to get to the poem for the night, and this is actually two poems I'm going to do, but I'm going to read them as one, and they do come from my manuscript, Living and Dying. So the first one is going to be Never Admit, and the second one is They Kill Us. Now, I'm not going to stop to say, okay, now this is They Kill Us. But you'll know when I get to the next poem, because I'll say, it's an elaborate system the Blue and White Eyes created. And that's the beginning of the second poem, They Kill Us. Now, for those of you that don't know, in my manuscript, I divided up the Caucasians in this country into two segments. So one segment is Decent White Lives, which are decent American Caucasian people that are just going to do their job. You know, they're going to live, take care of their family and all of that. They don't do anything active to be a racist or to show discrimination. They're just decent people. Okay, but then there's also the Blue and White Eyes. So these are the other Caucasian people. And the Blue and White Eyes I classify as some of the people with white skin, the people that believe their European blood makes them pure, blue blood running through their veins, better and supreme than anyone with color in their skin. They believe the darker a person's skin, the more they become less than seen through white eyes, seen through the haze of privileged minds, seen through the white gaze of white eyes. That is the Blue and White Eyes. That's what I consider them to be. And there's a whole poem with that, but that's the quick definition. Okay, so we are going to get to this poem. I hope you like it. So here it comes. They will never admit how much they owe us for exploiting us and building this country. They will never admit we are the backs and the bones and the veins of this country. They will never admit we are the blood, sweat, and unmarked graves of this country. They will never admit they use caste to control black lives in this country. They will never admit it's not much different than before. It's not much different than today. It's been 154 years or so since the powers that be set our people free or so. It's been 154 years or so. We're supposed to be free since 1865, an illusion created by the Blue and White Eyes. Now we begin to realize our black lives are not really or truly free. It's an elaborate system the Blue and White Eyes created, wherein we are outcast, cast out, kept out, and stomped on. We are under white feet and can't breathe with killer knees and chokeholds and ropes that snap our necks. Just less than. Just living and dying for the melanin in our skin, the darkness of our skin. They kill us in the streets under police knees as we plead to our departed mothers. They kill us in our homes, asleep in our warm, comfy beds. They send us to our ancestors in heavenly graves before we lived our childhood dreams. They kill us like rabid dogs when we're out for a run, killed by Blue and White Eyes with guns. They kill us while walking to the store or in our own home's doors, in a confused state of mind, wandering lost in our minds, in the fragile state of mind, in fragile mental health, just needing a little help in our fragile mental state of mind. But the blue and white eyes in their confused minds kill us. The racist minds and times of the country we live in kill us. Seeing the melanin in our skin, the darkness of our skin, the color of our skin, and the clothes and the stripes a prisoner wears as the same as the burlap sacks our ancestors wore as slaves. They kill us like we escaped the plantation, like we're runaway slaves, like we escaped from San Quentin, like we killed their mothers and grandmothers and daughters and sons. They will never be done with us. They will never stop killing us. For the melanin in our skin, the darkness of our skin, just living and dying in America's caste system. Less than just living and dying for the color of our skin. For as long as we shall live, they will never be done with us. For as long as they live, they will never stop killing us. Never. That's it. End of that poem. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whenever I do those poems, it always takes a lot out of me. Yes, thank you. So now I would love it if someone would talk to me, have some comments, anything you've heard in that poem, anything you want to comment on, or maybe you have a poem or some music or a song you want to sing, that's good too. However you want to express yourself here is okay, as long as it doesn't come from a place of hate. So, is there anyone that wants to make a comment? And I also know that it's really difficult. And I said this early on, like none of you have to be here. I know this. And it's really difficult to have these conversations on a platform where you don't know how many people are going to hear you. And it takes a little bit of bravery to put yourself out there. But you're not alone. We're all together. We're here together. So if there's any comments, it's good. If not, it's okay. There's no pressure. So instead, I can talk about the poem I just read. But I would much rather hear what you have to say. But I can do this. So the first part, the first poem, Never Admit. Now, as you know, my manuscript is about racism, discrimination, the caste system, oppression, all of that stuff that not only people of color, not only Black people, but Asians experience the same thing. Mexicans experience the same thing. Any Spanish people, they experience the same thing. South Asians experience the same thing here in this country. When I talk about they will never admit, there are so many things that happen in this country and they will never admit it, whether it's in the past or the present. They won't admit it. It's like it doesn't exist. So when the first line where they'll never admit how they owe us for exploiting us in building this country. Black people were forcibly brought here and made slaves One human being thought they were so superior that they would enslave another human being. And they told themselves, oh, this is God's will. This is God's will. This is what we're supposed to do. And we're supposed to be dominant over these people so we can become wealthy. Yeah, that's God's will. Sure it is. So we've heard people talk about, including me, reparations for the enslaved people of this country. And that first line talks about exploiting us and building this country. So, one, they made us slaves. Two, they didn't pay us for all the work we did. They didn't pay us for all the crops we planted and hoed and did everything else to bring the product to market. We got paid nothing for that. And imagine how easy it would be if you had a business and you had 300 employees and you didn't have to pay them. It's like straight out profit. You can be nothing but successful. You cannot fail. So the reason this country has gotten so wealthy because it was based on slavery. It was based on free labor. And that's why some people, including me, believe that Black people of this country are due some reparations. And I won't get into what those reparations are and how they should be, dispersed, but that's what I believe, and this is why it's in the poem. So the next line, we are the backs and the bones and the veins of this country. We are. That's just fact. This country couldn't be built without our backs and our bones. And we're all through this country, every part of this country. We had a part in building it. We did. Next line, we are the blood, sweat, and unmarked graves of this country. Now think about that. We put our lives forcibly, but we put our lives into this country. Our ancestors put their lives into this country. And how did they get honored for it? Unmarked graves. They just dispose of us like we were a farm animal. A good strong mule or a good strong cow. That's the way we were perceived. Property. That's it. That's it. Now we wonder, the next line is they use caste to control Black lives in this country. Now this is the part many of us don't understand. We think it's just racism. And when I say just racism, I don't mean just racism. Racism is a horrible thing, and it shows itself in so many ways. So we're fighting racism. But the caste system is what controls racism. So if we don't know if the caste system exists in this country, and if anyone in the audience doesn't know what the caste system is, it's a system that has a hierarchy. And they put certain people on the bottom and certain people at the top. If you're on the bottom, you are considered less than. You have no power. No one treats you with respect, especially the people that are on the top of the caste system. So in this country, Black people are on the bottom, plain and simple. And we've been on the bottom, and they're keeping us on the bottom. Now, I don't want to compete with another ethnic group that may not be on the bottom that's in this country. I don't want to compete with them because they're not on the top either. I want to pull together with them. You know, people say that you come to this country and you're in a minority. If you're black, you're a minority. If you're Puerto Rican, you're a minority. If you're Asian, you're a minority. Well, check this out. Overall, white people are kind of the minority in this world. In this country, 42%, I believe, don't quote me on that, but 42% of the people in this country are of color, of some color. Okay? And in this country, the blue and white eyes treat us all the same. They treat us worse because they remember us as slaves. The people that came from other countries, they don't remember them as slaves. So they always think of us as slaves here. You know, when a small white child asks for their parents the first time about a black person they see, why? Well, mom, dad, why is their skin dark? Oh, that's because they're African Americans. Yeah, but why? Why? What? Yeah, but you know, they're African Americans and they used to be slaves. They used to be our slaves. They don't think about it, what they're saying to their child. They're already teaching their child that white is better than black. They were our slaves. They had to do whatever we said. They're not slaves anymore, but they still treat us like we're slaves. You know, we are not truly free. That's why I get pissed off at the American dream. American dream? Really? A black person in here cannot experience the American dream. I don't care if you have a house. I don't care if you're a millionaire. I don't care if you're the president of the United States. They still look at us with a side eye. They still see us as less than. They still do, no matter what, no matter how much education you have, no matter how smart you are, no matter how wealthy we are, or you are, they still see us the same way. They used to be our slaves. So yeah, caste creates all of this. There's a hierarchy and we're on the bottom, which is unfortunate. And we're going to stay on the bottom unless we learn to love each other and we learn to love other races and we learn to work together and we learn to speak to the Caucasians in this country and help them understand what's really going on here. So I'm going to jump down to, it's been 154 years or so since the powers that be set us free or so. It's been 154 years. Well, yeah, we're supposed to be free since 1865, but it truly is an illusion because there are still red lines. They tell us where we can live. And within those red lines, they tell us what schools we can go to. And then because of the community we live in, we don't have good schools. We may end up with a subpar education. And we end up with jobs that don't pay. But you know what? Many of us believe, oh, well, I have a house. I have a car. Man, I got my family. I'm doing good. Yeah, you do have a roof over your head. Yeah, that's good. You do have a job, and that's good too. but you're not where you should be. You're not where you should be if there wasn't so much racism in this country and systemic racism in this country. You know, a child can go to school, a black child can go to school, and they're going to school, they're making their grades, all is good, just seemingly good. But then you'll have a Caucasian teacher tell our children things like, oh, but slaves were happy. They were happy. Every time a teacher says something like that, it pulls us down. Just imagine saying that to a child. Imagine saying that to your child. Oh, yeah, they made us slaves, but we were happy. Hell no. Nobody's happy as a slave, ever. And they've been trying to peddle that mess to us for years. Nobody's happy as a slave. But this is the story that is told. They tell it to our faces in school. They tell it to us in movies. They tell it to us in books. And most people believe it. Get the hell out of here. That's insane. It's insane. And you know, I'm just talking about right now, I'm talking about African Americans, but that goes for anyone that's different than the blue and white eyes, what I call the blue and white eyes. So if you are LGBTQ, or it don't matter what color you are then, they don't like you. They will do everything in their power to put you down. They will even take someone that's growing up and they may know they're gay, they may know they're lesbian, but there's a stigma in this country. There's a stigma. So their parents will make them feel so bad about themselves. They'll go to a LGBTQ club and just shoot everybody because they're hating themselves because of what their parents taught them. It's insane. So all of this stuff, the blue and white eyes to do to anyone that's different than them, it's just insane, and it causes all of these things that are going on. But, you know, American dream, you can live that American dream. Yeah, right. If I was living the American dream, I would be a multi-millionaire by now. I've worked for myself my whole life. And I can tell you times where I was on my way to be a millionaire. And all it took was one Caucasian to stop it, to destroy it for me. And it happened several times in my life where I really had been set up to have a better life than I could imagine. But they tore me down. Strictly because I was black. Strictly. That's the only reason. It wasn't because I was a bad businessman. It wasn't because I did something awful. It wasn't because I screw people over in business. Only because I'm black. Is that the American dream? Is that the American dream? Why do all the prosperous black towns in this country get burned down? Why did Tulsa happen? Why did Wilmington happen? Think about it. If it's a prosperous black town, it will be destroyed. But yeah, American dream. American dream. Yeah, we're living our American dream, all right. That's insane. It's insane. So I'm going to move on down in this poem a bit. And actually, this is when the other poem started. They kill us. And so this is kind of self-explanatory here. It's an elaborate system the blue and white eyes created, wherein we are outcast, cast out, kept out, and stomped on. And we are. We are. For 400 years. It's not over. It hasn't stopped. It still goes on. We are under white feet and can't breathe with killer knees and chokeholds and ropes that snap our necks. None of that is a lie. All of it is the truth. And it still happens. But yeah, we're living our American dream. Oh, yeah.
Sweetheart, speaking of lies, really, Charlie said there's Wilmington Lies, great book.
Oh, cool. We'll have to check that out. We'll have to
And just
check
a
that
reminder
out.
to look at your clock.
My clock, yes, it's 9:52. I'm running out of time. I see. We're going to end it in about 8 minutes. Okay. I move on. So I'll go through this quickly. We understand all of that. I believe everybody understands living and dying because that's what happens to us here. We live and then we die. And for the most part, nobody cares but our family. Because through the blue and white eyes, we don't count because we're on the bottom of the hierarchy in the caste system. They kill us in the streets as we plead to our departed mothers. Well, you know what that is. And I'm moving along quick. These things I've written about, I don't even have to give names. They kill us in our homes when we're asleep in our warm, comfy beds. What's that? They send us to our ancestors in heavenly graves before we lived our childhood dreams. We're being killed as children. I mean, all the time. It's insane. If you have a mental condition, you don't have to have a medical condition. You could be jogging down the street, and that's a good enough reason for you to be stopped and killed. Again, insane. But we're living our American dream. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. All of this really hates. It hurts me. I hate it. It hurts me when I have to think about it, when I write it. But I feel I have to. This is one of the talents I have, and I have to use it, just like the rest of us. If we have a talent, we need to use it. Use it. Because we're all more powerful than we believe we are. Just remember that. So I'm getting real close. So I'm not even going to finish going through this whole poem. So anyway, real quick, has anyone have any comments, anything to say? It doesn't have to be about the show. It could be about something else that was on your mind. Feel free to come up. Nope. Nobody? Okay. All right, we'll start closing out this show. But before I do that, I always do or try to do a call to action. So the call to action until the next time is please try to do something to be an everyday activist. Something, whatever it is you feel comfortable with. Just do something. Something. That's all I want. That's all I want. If we all did that, things would move along a lot better, a lot faster, a lot faster. Okay, so now we really will start closing out this show. Also, like I told you earlier, on the 10th, we are going to have Really Charlie. He's also a creator on Fireside. He's also a poet, and he's a great interviewer. He is. I'm really looking forward to that show. And he also has the Really Charlie podcast, which I believe is on Anchor and Spotify and LinkedIn and Facebook and all over the place. He's something else. Also, let's see, the music you're hearing right now is called Choral. It's by 29 Beats. The music I played for both of the poems that were just one was, let's see, that was by Reckless. So it's called Reckless, and it was by Buck Roll, which is cool. Again, I want to thank the audience. I want to thank my lovely producer, my wife, Jill Cox Cordova. Thank the audience again. I love that you were here. Please share this episode. Share it with the world. Share it with everyone you know. Try to get someone else to come. If not for me, for them. Okay? That would be cool. Now, again, I really do love you all. I really do. You know, a lot of people say, oh, I love you, and they don't really mean it. But I really mean it. I really do love you all because I know I have to love you if I plan to work with you. If I want you to work with me, I have to love you. So again, thank you everyone for coming. I love you here. Oh, I saw Tammy just popped in. Hi, Tammy. Woo! Good to see you. But I'm getting off the stage, and the stage is off. You can still hear me, and in just a moment, I'm going to end this show. I love you. I love you all.